Hey, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. We're so glad to have you with us. We really appreciate that you would take time out of your busy day and come be with us today. I am Peter Mac Doctor, and I'm so excited. We've got Paul Doty with us, and we're expecting some more people to come on. Maybe we'll get Ricardo to come in at some point. Um, Paul, you want to say hello?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Carol. Yeah, we're
Hi.
here. I can see you. I can't type in the comments, or I would have said hello before the broadcast started. But hi,
Yeah,
Carol.
I don't know what's going on with the comments. I can't say anything either, and I can't type it in. But I do see you, Carol. No, this is not a repeat broadcast. Um, Although sometimes people call me repeat, even though my name is Pete. They because I repeat. And so I just want to repeat. I'm glad to have you here with us today. Glad to have Paul and his book. We're going to talk about that today, the 15-minute Mac book. And also, he has some other information about some electronic PDF giveaways, Paul.
Yeah, we're going to do some special stuff this time. Last time we gave away a free book. We gave away the MacBook. I want to do a little more this time. Um, Basically, for anybody that tunes in, whether it's on YouTube later or whether it's on today on the broadcast live, if you go to Amazon and if you buy any of my books, there's 4 available. If you buy any book, just send me an email, and we're going to have that email available here real quick. A little bit later in the program, we'll tell you what the email is. But if you email me a copy of your receipt that you bought a book. It can be a screenshot. You could take out your iPhone and take a picture. You could send me, a copy of the invoice or whatever. Just don't send me your credit card information. But if you send proof of purchase for every book you purchase, I'm going to send you an ebook for free. And how you get that is in the comments. You're going to put promo code 2021 and the name of the book that you want. Now, here's the deal. If there's 4 books, so if you buy 2 books, I'm going to send you the other 2 books. So
Whoa.
however many you buy, and these are going to be they'll be emailed. You'll be emailed a link back. They're the ebook version. You can buy either the paperback or the ebook on Amazon. Doesn't matter. And we're going to send you an ebook. There's somebody that may want to buy a paperback version of the 15-minute MacBook, and you may want an ebook version of it for faster reference to be able to electronically find something that you're looking for. So you might order the same book on ebook, but you don't have to. Any book you want, I'm going to send it to you for free.
And if you send me your credit card information, I will read the book to you so you have an audio book. How's that?
Live audiobook. Yeah, you can't beat that with a
Just
stick.
send me your credit card information. Well, there's the 4 books that we're talking about. Rubber Meets the Road, of course, the 15-minute Mac book, the Big Sur edition, Faith Comes by Hearing, and Sex Positive. Now, Pastor Peter has Sex Positive up on his screen. It is a Christian marriage book, so don't
It
get no
is. It's all from the
ideas.
Christian perspective.
I have not went back to the world despite what you hear, despite the contrary. I want to talk about the iPad giveaway because we are very, very close to giving away this iPad. Once we get 5,000 members in the Mac Computer User Group on Facebook, we're going to give this iPad away. Now, one of the things about this giveaway is that once we get to 5,000 people, half of those people will be out of the country. So they're excluded from the giveaway. So your odds to win this MacBook are very easy. So 2,501 odds to win this book. I mean, win this iPad. So you want to get people to join up, get them to log in, get them to go to the Mac Computer User Group Facebook page, and that information we'll be posting up, and we'll also be posting up the information for Paul and his how to get in contact with him and his information. But what a giveaway. Let me show you this thing here. I'm actually using it on Facebook right now. See, there's the live stream coming in. It's an iPad Air 2 with 64 gig of RAM. It is the Wi-Fi version. And it was one I've been using myself. I like this Bluetooth keyboard that'll actually work on a Mac too, but that connects to it and it works like a stand as well as it's a case to keep it protected. So, it's used, but it's my own. So I took very good care of it. Has a couple scratches on it, but other than that, hey, let's win this iPad, get people to join the group, and we'll figure out how, if somebody has a good way that we can do this drawing, I really appreciate if you let me know, because we'll probably do a live stream for that as well. Paul, you're working on another book already, I hear.
Well, I've always have a couple of books in the works. I probably have 3 books in the works right now, but the next thing on the radar will probably be whatever the new operating system is. I mean, once you do one of these books, if you're doing, your books for dummies, or in my case, books for the intelligent, we're every year you're going to put out, you're going to update and put out. So the next one coming up will be whatever the operating system is. And of course, at this point, we don't know what Apple's going to do with the new operating system. We can look up and down the coast and try and figure out, what the next name's going to be, but we don't at that point. But later on in the year, we will.
I'd like to call it the Big Apple for
go.
New York City, since they're all places, Big Sur and Yosemite, Mojave, and all these different places.
Yeah, but they all got to be in California. You got to have that California theme going on.
Well, I do want to do some Mac news, but before I do, I want to tell you that you can call in 704-759-4570 and get your questions answered over the phone. You can text that number as well. That'll be scrolling across the bottom of the screen occasionally. You can also go on to the Facebook page and make comments right on the live cast. And I see people are. Now, there's some glitch where we're not able to reply back, but I do see Leslie and I do see Barbara. So I do know that you guys are commenting. You can write your comments and questions in the comments for this video. And also, you can come right into the studio with us if you're brave enough. If you have a Mac, I know you have a webcam on there, so you can use that on an iPad or your phone. And the link is somewhere here. There's the studio link to get into the studio. And you can come on live with us. And we're hoping to get a couple of our technicians on also, and some of the other Mac pros. We got a lot of people that know a lot of stuff about Mac in the Facebook Mac computer user group.
Yeah, where's Ricardo this morning?
Yeah, he's might have slept in. Well, he might not have any electricity being in Texas.
Oh, okay.
All my Texas people, family, church family, friends, Pastor Corey, Crossing Fellowship, all the churches we've visited and been a part of there, Azel Church, and also the church at Azel and Gateway and everyone else. So we're thinking about you, praying for you, and just hoping that you get all your services back quickly, especially water and heat. But I know it's warmed up to about 60 degrees there today, I think. So I'm glad of that. And here in Clarksville, where I am, we were snowed in, but it's melting now. I know there are people that are waiting on deliveries from me. It's not my fault because I'm not getting any. I start getting deliveries. I just found out Monday. I've got trash piled up in the garage because we didn't have a trash pickup. But those deliveries will be going out this week. So sorry for the late I'm usually pretty quick on the deliveries, but that's why. Before we get back to Paul, I do want to, there's some things that come over the Apple wire that I want to talk about. Microsoft is going to have a new version of Office coming out. It's either going to be called Office 2021 or for the Mac, Office 2019. I don't know why the Mac is always behind, but I think it's a conspiracy with Microsoft and Apple. But anyway, there is a new version coming out. Also, Apple is aggressively working on, here we go, drum roll, 6G for phones. So I got a 5G phone. I can't even get 5G in most places in most cities, but they're already aggressively working on 6G. So that I know that's happening. They're also working on the Apple Car, which they want to be totally autonomous, meaning you come out your house, you get in your car, you say, Siri, take me to the bank, and it knows what bank to go to and how to drive the streets and get you to. That's what they want. They don't want anything less than that. So they're having trouble getting a manufacturer. They've been to Nissan, and I think they're talking to Volkswagen now. And I think Tesla is a perfect fit, but I don't know. Anyway, so that's going on. MacBook Airs, M1s are pretty much $100 off everywhere. So if you want an M1 MacBook Air, they've come down. And also the M1 Minis have really come down. They're down to about $600 for an aggressively configured one. So those are both down, which is good news for people that want to run Big Sur, because Big Sur is really it's really, now Apple won't tell you this, but it's really an M1 operating system. It works best with M1 and also works best with the high-end Retinas like 2018 and above. It works good with a 2015, but it's more designed for the M1s. Apple having that foresight of having it ready for that. I want to thank Apple for their support of Texas in what Texas is going through. They've sent millions of dollars in aid and support. And also, on the last thing is Apple is coming out with a battery pack, a MagSafe battery pack that can go on the back of iPhone 12, and to give you more battery life, you can store some credit cards and it can charge your iPhone, and it's MagSafe, so it does charge itself magnetically. So that's it for the Apple news. Maybe somebody will call in with some more Apple news, and let's get on with taking some questions or getting back with Paul and finding out. Once again, Paul, you want to tell them how they get the free downloads?
Sure. Again, we're giving away free books. All you have to do is go on Amazon, buy any book of mine. There's 4 of them. Buy any one of them, and I'm going to send you an ebook of your choice, either Rubber Meets the Road, Sex Positive, the 15-Minute MacBook, or Faith Comes by Hearing. And in order to get that, what you're going to do is you're going to email Author Paul Doty, and that's Author Paul Doty at gmail.com. Send an email to that address, and in the subject, put promo code 2021 and the title of the book that you want. And then I'm going to reply to that email address with a link where you can download the book for free. If you buy 2 books on Amazon, I will send you 2 books for free. So it would just be promo code 2021 and the 2 books. And that's going to be good for anybody that's tuning in today to get that information, or anyone that sees the YouTube rebroadcast of this in the year 2021. So if you're watching this, it's 2024. Sorry. But in the year 2021, you just put the promo code 2021 and the title of the book, and we'll get you free books.
Okay. Hey, folks, go on and share this video stream. Go on your Facebook page and share it with your family and friends and your Facebook friends and Twitter and Instagram and whatever else, at LinkedIn. And there's so many platforms now. you can share this video. Let's get some people to join the Mac computer user groups so that we can get this iPad given away. And let's see if we got any more comments. Let's get some comments on in the Facebook page. Let's just show where that is. There's on the bottom, you can see where the Facebook group page is. Had somebody ask me a question through the phone call. They asked about the solid state upgrades for the iMac. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing iMac solid state upgrades for, like, when the solid state drives first came out years ago, I knew the benefit of it, but they were so expensive that what I was doing was I would take a MacBook Pro or an iMac, and I would, now this is long before, now it's something commonly done, but this is long before that. I would put that solid state drive in a machine and have the other drive as a secondary drive, or take the DVD drive out and put a solid state drive in. And over time, Apple started doing that, and other manufacturers, and then they started making hybrid drives that were, the drive itself was a combination of a chip and a mechanical drive, which were a lot cheaper because of how expensive solid state drives were. It was a good option, but they were not as fast as a full solid state drive, and not as reliable because they still had moving parts. Well, for a few years, people have been putting external solid state drives in cases on the back of their Macs. And I tried that and it didn't work too good. But now I have a 2013 iMac, and the question was about putting a solid state drive on the back. And this machine, I've had several iMacs, and when I get them, what I would do is take the screen off, put the solid state drive in, take out the mechanical drive, and that would be my machine. Well, this one I've got now, I always intended to do that, but for just the sake of having to get it up and running, I just put a solid state drive in a case, connected to the back, and it's very fast. And then I thought about it. Well, if you got a 2012 and above, it has USB 3.0. If you make sure you get a USB 3.0 case, and it's a solid state drive, the throughput is almost as fast as an internal drive. It's not as fast, but it's almost as fast. So that works. So the question was about doing that. In the past, I would always say, no, you don't want to do that. You don't. Now I'm saying, if you have a 2012 or higher, that is a good upgrade. If you don't feel like doing the work or going through the trouble of taking that screen off, which it's a lot of work. And I've got machines all the time where people have tried to do that, and I ended up repairing the broken cable or the broken connector or the broken screen. So it's not for the faint of heart. It is a tough upgrade or repair. So just wanted to throw that out there.
As fast as your weakest link, right? So if you're trying to do something over USB 2, USB 2 is a slug compared to USB 3.
It's very slow.
If you've got USB 3, you're going to have a fairly high transfer rate. So yeah, that's a very good knowing the difference on those two. I see we have a Facebook user here. It says, do either or both of you buy new equipment as soon as it comes out, or do you update your device, or do you update your devices immediately with the newest Mac or iOS? That's a good question. I've seen on the user group this week, a lot of people have been debating that whole thing of whether or not to upgrade and update to the new operating system when they come out. And on the user group, most of the people that are adamant on the no side, that they wait. I tend to upgrade pretty fast because I have all fairly new machines. I think my oldest machine is a 2013, I think, my original MacBook Pro. So all of mine are within the last couple of years. So yeah, I keep up current with Big Sur.
Yeah, I am not running Big Sur. I would be if I had a newer machine, but my machine is not new. For years now, I've been doing this for a while, since 1985, a little bit 84, right in that, ever since the original Mac 128, the very first Mac that came out, I had it, and that's when I started. Now, for years, I would tell people, you don't need a new Mac. You don't need the latest and the greatest. Because they just last. People would ask me, well, I'm going to Apple, I'm going to get a new Mac years ago, prior to 2012, and and they would ask me inevitably, should I get the warranty? And I would always say, no, don't get the warranty. You don't need it. The Macs don't break down. You have to break them. And it was pretty much true. Fast forward to today, if somebody asked me about a Mac that is over a 2016, I would tell them, get a brand new unit from Apple. Don't even bother looking at used or refurbished unless you get it from me. But I don't sell too many of those. And get all the Apple care you can. Get everything. And it's no fault of Apple, because they're great machines. I love the new Macs. They do what they're supposed to do, and they work great. But they will if you're a Mac user from way back, they're not going to last like your old Mac did. Now that gets to the point of, should I upgrade to the latest operating? Should I not? And to me, it's important to keep up with the latest operating system, because you're getting all the security that goes along with it. Macs don't get viruses typically because they're hard to write for the Mac, for one. And there's not the amount of Macs compared to PCs, although that's changing too. So people didn't write for the Mac, write viruses, and a virus has to be written. It's an actual program. Well, now there's malware, spyware, and there's all this other stuff that can go on a Mac. But if you do all your security updates or your Mac up, you keep it up to date, you don't have to worry about any of those. iOS, as far as phones, iPads, yeah, keep them up to date with the latest iOS as long as it can update. The problem is some of them cannot update. And the problem with updating, like if you want to update to Big Sur and you got a machine that can do it, well, you want to make sure you have 16 gigs of RAM, or 8 at least, but 16 is probably even better. You want to definitely have a solid state drive, which is a machine from 2013 on up. But years ago, Apple would just, between its engineers and its software people, they would run an operating system themselves for a year to 18 months before they even released it. You didn't see too many beta releases from Apple back in the day. Now, kind of like everybody else, they'll release a beta, and they'll release a operating system that this is why you need this, because it might not be tested with everything, whereas it used to be, but not anymore. So now, just like everybody else, they come out with an operating system, and we are the beta testers, the people that buy the operating system. So it's good to have a reference. And you know what about this book? See, you probably can't see that, but see how everything is broken down into where 15 in 15 minutes, you can learn about whatever the issue is that you have. Well, I got this problem with my mail. I got something going on with, what is VPN and how do I use it? Virtual private networking. There it is. Oh, my system got hijacked. Everything's broken down into 15-minute lessons. And like I said before, I'm not a big proponent of pushing any particular, book or person, or I'm not a salesman, but when I like something, I like it. And that's very Mac like, that book, Paul. Okay, so Facebook, Mac Computer User Group, get there, send your comment or send your question. Also, you can call 704-759-4570 if you want to call in a question or text in a question. I got a text that I'm going to get to in a minute.
Got a lot of people saying hello, but
a lot of
need some
hellos.
questions now.
Maybe everybody doesn't have maybe there's no questions. People already have the book and are reading it.
There's no more questions.
There, I got the book. Another comment. Hey, there's Ricardo.
Yeah, Ricardo.
Yeah, that's a good comment, Ricardo. That the MacBook Airs up to 2017, 2015 on the MacBook Pros. You're right. Those are the ones that are okay. I'll tell you where you go wrong with some of the Retinas. And I say you go wrong, and I say don't get them. But the thing is, if you investigate them, if you're going to buy a used Retina, which is 2013, actually late 2012, but there's so few of the 2012 that 2013 up to present, you should know which ones have an issue and what the issues are. You should check the battery cycle count. And even more important than the battery cycle count is the Ricardo, help me. What is it called that you want to look up for the battery? It escapes me right now. It's not the cycle count, but it's the anyway. I could probably look at right
measurement as well.
Yeah, there's a health measurement, and there's a way it's actually measured in battery terminology. But anyway, you want to check that because those batteries are glued in the 2013 and above. So replacing the battery is expensive. Battery health. There you go. Thank you, Ricardo. It's expensive, but I was thinking full charge capacity. You can also see that on a MacBook Pro. If you go into About This Mac, down to system information, down to power, you'll see battery, full charge capacity, the actual battery capacity. So a lot of people do cycle count. Cycle count is very good, but full charge capacity is even better because you can get a low cycle count battery. And if the full charge capacity is not good, it'll be full. It'll have low cycles, but it'll drain down very quickly. Anyway, so in those machines, the Retinas, you want to make sure if you're buying a used one or refurbished one, you want to know what that cycle count is, in that battery full charge capacity. Secondly, the screens tend to delaminate on the Retina machines, that Retina display. It's been fixed a little bit in the 2016 and up. That display issue has been fixed, and Apple will replace some of the newer ones if you have that issue. That's the second thing. Third thing is upgradeability. You can upgrade the solid state drive on many of them, but some of them you cannot. And so you want to make sure that you're buying one with enough RAM and some of them storage space right off the bat when you first get it. So because it's not going to be upgradable later on. The 2016, 2017 have an issue that makes the 2015 more desirable. And that is the 2016 and 2017 went to a different keyboard design. And that keyboard design is, if you get a little speck of dust under it, that key is not going to work. So that's important to know with 2016 and 2017. You want to check that keyboard out very well. I got a lot of people that called me, said, hey, I bought this 2016 or 2017 MacBook Pro, and now all of a sudden one of the keys don't work. 9 times out of 10, it's dust under the key. And if you take that keycap off, it's not like the old ones. They are really a bear. So those are things that keep in mind.
I read a chapter on that specifically on Keygate. And really all it does is take one speck of dust underneath. And I have those machines, and I'll be typing along, and all of a sudden I look up at my screen and there's no O in anything. And I hit O, nothing. But what people people get all upset and stuff up that. Usually all you have to do is have a can of compressed air. If you take a can of compressed air and just shoot right underneath that key, just give it a quick shot, got your O back. So they stick really easy, but they're also fixed really easy.
Which is good.
If you know the trick.
Let's see. I got somebody tweeting me, and I want to make sure I get back to them and see. Okay. Just also had somebody asking me about a machine. Oh, yeah. For purchase. Yeah, so those are pretty much the issues on the retinas are lighter. They're more easy to carry around. The new machines are so nice as far as that component. They're just light and easy to carry. Apple is so smart in their marketing. When they were just the Apple computer, an early Mac computer, they used to give away to the schools computers. And so now you have all these teachers who had students see the Mac and they want to get a Mac. And you have these young people that working on Macs, and they grow up and they go to college and they got Macs and they become corporate people or start companies or work for companies, and they say everybody's got to have a Mac. And so you movie studios, they give computers to. If you a lot of movies and stuff you see on television, they're using a Mac. Apple might be blacked out sometimes, but so Apple is very aggressive in their marketing as far as that stuff goes, because they're great machine and they're aesthetically so pleasing.
Yeah, Apple claims that they don't do that. They don't give away stuff, but you see so much of it.
Yeah. They don't have to now. I know that. Years ago they did. They don't have to now. They don't have to give away anything, but they certainly gave them to the schools back in the day. I have a lot of clients who are teachers.
This last week on the last week's been really active, by the way, on the Mac computer user group. A lot of new people, and you can tell just about every new post is, "Hi, I'm new. Thank you for adding me to the group." Yeah. And here's my big question. I'm just amazed at how many people are really interested in wanting to know about virus protection for Macs. And I think it's just a testimony of how many people are coming over from PCs, and they just a
lot of PC converts. So, I could probably count on my hands how many clients I've had who have been doing something, and I'd say, if you went to a Mac, I think this process would be easier, and I think you'd enjoy it. And years later, staying with their Windows machine and working with it because they were familiar with it, they'd get a Mac and they'd call me, "Hey, how come you didn't tell me it was going to be this easy?" And well, I think I did, but Mac. I could not have the business I had if my first computer was a Windows machine, because I would probably got frustrated with it or whatever. But the Mac was so intriguing to me, this computer that would say, "Hi, welcome to Macintosh," and talk, and I could do these things with it. And it was the graphical user interface, point and click with a mouse. That's what led to, the passion. I mean, I'm passionate. I'm a Mac evangelist. And the reason is because 15 minutes, anything you could figure out. And if you stay with the Mac is one of the machines that if you work on it, you learn it. And Apple, this is another thing about Apple. They were very aggressive back in the day of making sure that if I'm Adobe and I am another software company, all of my menus and all of the way my software works has got to work just like the Mac operating system as far as where everything is and how everything. So it's very, very well figured out as far as the how the system was going to work with any software, and it made it very easy to go from one thing to another. I know a lot of Mac users know how to use a lot of different programs, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, continuity is a big thing with Apple, always has been, whether it's the applications that are running on it or the operating system itself. A lot of people, that's one of the reasons why people are paranoid to update the operating system when new operating systems come along. Well, I just learned Catalina. Now I have to learn Big Sur. No, you don't, because it operates just like Catalina. It just looks a little different and looks a little shinier. And yeah, there's a lot of things going on under the hood that are making things better and stuff. But they try to have that continuity string run through all of the products. So once you learn something, when a new operating system comes out, they never hit you with something that looks and operates, totally different. Windows 8. It just doesn't happen, and you see that happening a lot in the PC world. Now, PCs, Microsoft has kind of caught on to that. They're a little late to the game as usual, but they've kind of figured out that, with Windows 10, they keep coming out with new versions of Windows 10 now. So they've essentially copied Apple with that whole continuity thing.
Well, I remember when Windows first came out, I was like, "Oh, they're copying the Mac. Come on, go get them, Steve Jobs." But they couldn't do it. Okay, I've got these neat Apple stickers here. You probably can't see them because they're white, but you've seen them on the back of people's cars. And I'm gonna need somebody to call into the studio and get a bunch of Apple stickers. I know you want them. I know you want them. And I've got some other stuff I want to give away too. So if you're brave, there's the link where you can join us in the studio. I probably should make sure that still works because I posted that a couple of days ago. Anybody tell me if that's the link? Somebody can call in and try it or log on and try it. You have to use Chrome if you're a Mac user, unfortunately. Google Chrome. Let's see.
Simply because the StreamYard software, that's what it runs on. It's just
and that's what we're doing in the studio with the StreamYard, which I don't want to give them a plug because I'm paying them to use it. They do have a free version though. Jason Haynes asked, he has a 2015 MacBook Air and storage is getting low. It's the one that came with the 128 gig solid state drive. Now, a lot of people will call me and say, hey, Peter, I need more memory. My computer's getting low on memory, and they'll call me and I'll say, well, you want 16.8 or and they say, oh, that doesn't sound like much. It's a common mistake, and I made it all the time when I first started in computers. The memory is not the storage space. So RAM is memory. Storage space is hard drive. Hard drive is where all the files are stored. And when it says you're out of storage space, that's usually what they're talking about. Or you don't have enough room, that's usually what it's talking about. If your machine says you're out of memory, then that's the RAM, the typically 4, 8, 16 gig. But he's talking about his storage space. He's talking about 128 gigs solid state drive that came with his MacBook Air, and somebody was offering to upgrade for him for $220. Does that seem fair? That seems fair to, depending upon where you go. So yes, that does seem fair. One of the things that computer companies do, and it was real effective maybe a few years ago, before the advent of iCloud and online storage, and is in order to sell you a new machine. If me and Paul and Ricardo, we've all got machines that have a 1 terabyte hard drive, and it's plenty of space for us. In order for them to sell us a new machine, they're going to say, well, this one has 2 terabyte, and it has i10 processor, and it's much faster and bigger, and that would be, with the advent of iCloud and online storage, hard drives have tended to get okay being smaller. So what I recommend is make sure that you're using iCloud storage. Make sure that you're using some kind of offline or external hard drive, more iCloud storage, because it's if I lose this, if I lost my iPhone and I've got everything in iCloud, all I have to do is get another iPhone, sign into Apple, and get everything comes back. It's the same with computers. Also, I recommend turning on Find My Mac in iCloud, because then, if God forbid your computer is stolen or you misplace it, you can always go on any web browser, Mac or PC, type in iCloud.com and find where your computer is, or find where your phone is, or find where once it's connected to the internet, you can lock your phone remotely, you can lock your computer remotely, you can put a special message on your computer that says this computer belongs to such and such, and they'll be locked out. So just some info.
I really tend to see a lot of the trend that I see is for people to buy the biggest mistake people make is they buy computers with too small a hard drive, because that's the hard drive really is one of the biggest factors in driving the cost of your machine. And if you look at the price of a 128 versus a 1 terabyte, it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars between those machines. And the fact of the matter is, when you're looking at hard drive size, the 128s, who should buy the cheap 128? Someone who is going to do nothing more with the machine than check their email and surf the internet. It's a netbook. That's the only thing they're doing. They're not going to put a bunch of apps on the machine. They're not going to do, a lot of texting and have it stored on the machine, all those things, because you don't have the room for it. 256, yeah, it's double the space, but it's still not a lot. If you're going to use a machine as a full-fledged computer, I always tell people, the bare minimum for having plenty of room to stretch is, a 500, half a terabyte. That's really what you want. And if you're a user that's going to be working with big files, like you do video editing, audio editing, or whatever, you want to have enough room for at least the project you're working on the machine locally. Then the professionals out there, people that are serious computer users, they have a terabyte machine. And when you go above that, then you're in crazy professional territory. You're people that are working on hour-long to 2-hour-long movies, basically. So that's the fast, rough breakdown on hard drives. And again, I've got a chapter specifically on that in the book that will walk you through all of that. Same thing with RAM. So it kind of takes the mystery out of what you buy, and as opposed according to what you're going to use it for.
Yeah, as a rule of thumb, as far as RAM goes, I would always tell people get as much as you can for what you can afford when you get it, because on machines that it is removable and replaceable, like the Mac Pro towers and cylinder machines, you get as much as you can afford when you buy it, especially if you're doing the audio and the video stuff. Try to get a machine that where it is upgradable like that. You can replace or add RAM to it and grow. A lot of people will call me and say, "Hey, I just need something just for doing the internet." Just this happens a lot. I just need something to get on the internet and do some typing. And I say, okay, this is what you need. This is a great price, and it'll do that, and it'll do my mistake probably. It'll do a little bit more too. And inevitably they'll call, well, I want to get into video now, and I want to do this, I want to do that. And so they will outgrow it pretty quick. So get as much as you can when you can.
Part of the trick is actually looking into the future and asking yourself, what is going to meet my needs right now, but what's going to meet my needs 5 years down the road.
Right.
And if you plan on selling that machine the next time you go to buy another machine, there's the resale too. Is it going to be a viable machine in the future? Do I have enough here to where someone's actually going to want to buy it in the future?
Get something back from. I'm big on, not having these things go to a recycle place where they're going to be part of a landfill. So I am big on, recycling these machines in terms of trade-ins and stuff like that. And I think that's an important component, and that's why I like how long the Mac would last for that reason more than anything else. So that was with so to answer his question, I thought that was a fair price to get that done, especially from a local shop. I would say though you spend that much on a Mac, take it to somebody who's been works on Mac and has been doing Macs. And if you can take it to the Apple Store, that's great. Take it to the Apple Store. You will pay a premium for it being the Apple Store, but they know what they're doing, and that's important. I have done repairs from people who have taken things to PC people who are very good at doing their PC repairs. But the Mac is like a different creature as far as internals go. I've got somebody who uh, had an airport wireless card go bad in their machine, and they took it to somebody, and the person told them that it's the logic board. The PC airport cards, they're not airport cards in PC parlance, and they're just wireless cards. They look the same, and they have the same pins, and they fit, but they don't always work in a Mac. In PC terms, you need a driver. A lot of times you don't need drivers with Mac because it's built into the software. So it built into the operating system. So take it to a good person that does the repair. Ricardo in Fort Worth is good with Mac repair on a logic board level. He does the welding and soldering and stuff like that, replacing components on the logic board. And something I don't do anymore because of my age and having to look at those little things through the microscope. Don't want to do that anymore. Hello, group. I was wondering if you have any advice for a 27-inch iMac late 2019. Right now, it has the Fusion drive in it, and nothing's going bad. I hardly use it. But what I did is I bought an SSD, 1 terabyte, and cloned it from the Fusion drive. My question is, will it hurt any if I just keep booting up from the SSD drive, which is through a USB cable? Now, that's a confusing question for me.
Well, his SSD evidently is external. He's running it via USB. Wants to know if that's going to hurt anything.
Oh, he's cloned it from the Fusion drive.
Not going to hurt anything. An issue with the cloning is great when you have apples and apples and you want to literally clone. If you have apples and oranges, which he has in this case, he's coming from a mechanical drive. It's a Fusion, but it's still a mechanical drive. Over to a strictly solid state drive. Now you're apples and oranges. And can cloning work? Yes. Will it work 100% of the time? No. And the reason being is because you're coming from one format into a new format. And there may be little intricate idiosyncrasies about how one thing is designed to work with a Fusion drive as opposed to a strictly solid state environment. In those particular circumstances, I recommend doing basically starting from scratch and building it like a new computer. So you're not bringing over any corruption from what you had in an older version or something that was designed specifically, an operating system with components that are specifically designed for the for the Fusion environment. Here, this is a good point to touch on. When people do an update on their computer, everyone kind of has this idea that everyone gets the same update, that it's exactly the same. And it's actually not. This is true whether you have an iPhone or a computer or what have you. The update kind of knows what it's going on to, and it's getting specific drivers and things behind the scenes to make that specific environment work. 90-something% of it is exactly the same. But there's these small percentages that are designed for the specific system, and in that way, Apple is very smart. The updating process is very smart. It knows what it's going on to. So when you clone, you may be bringing over things that it may be better to, it may work. but it may actually slow down a little bit compared to if you had done a completely fresh install.
Yeah, one of the things about cloning, well, first of all, like you mentioned, if when you do a system install that comes from Apple, like the Command Option or Command R or Option key, and you do it from the Apple servers, they know what machine you have. The install always checks and handshakes with your machine to see what model it is, and it's very specific, what components, drivers, what have you, it has to put into the system based on what your machine is and what it has in it. So it does know, and if you clone those over, you do clone those over. And a lot of times they don't cause a problem, but they will cause things you won't see right away or notice right away, or it might be a little slower than what it's supposed to operate. But generally they can be, you won't see anything come up right away, but it might come up down the road. Also, I do a lot of cloning because I'm doing a lot of people who are buying upgraded machines or new machines. And I tend to, depending upon the situation, I will use Carbon Copy Cloner, which is a third-party software. It's free to use for 30 days. And let me hide my face. And what I do to use it past 30 days is I'll just set the date back on the time on the calendar on the clock of the computer, and then it thinks it's 30 days ago or past, and it'll work again. So don't do that though. Anyway. I love these workarounds, right? Well, Carbon Copy Cloner says I can't use it anymore because it's out of date. Okay, well, I'm gonna change the date, and it doesn't know. They're computers. You can figure out. Anyway, it's great software.
And in next week, when Peter tells us the art of torrent loading.
Let me tell you though, I have several licenses for Carbon Copy Cloner. It's just when I get on machine, I don't want to put in my numbers. Okay, so there you go. There's my disclaimer. Somebody says I've been getting a lot of spinning color wheels recently, and I really don't understand why. That spinning beach ball, that color wheel of death, the
beach ball of death.
Yeah. I'm trying to do am I trying to do things too quickly? Mostly it's been happening on PowerPoint. There's a lot of reasons that could be happening. So if you wanna text back, whoever this is, it says Facebook user, but I could probably look on the page and see who it is. But anyway, if you want to text back how much RAM you have, what machine you have, I could probably narrow it down, what operating system you run. I'll tell you exactly what it is. But it's either RAM. It's not you're working too fast unless it's a really old machine. It could be your operating system and your machine together, not matching up. And most likely you got a mechanical hard drive, and that takes time. Back in the day, if you got an older machine, you used to have to defragment hard drive. That goes way back. Defragment the hard drive, because what would happen, the hard drive would have a file and it's not in one contiguous space on the drive. That file it's one file, but it's in several places on the hard drive. And the drive, every time you use it, it has to put that file back together or find where everything is. So it would be notoriously slow. What a lot of people didn't realize is a Mac does that automatically. And so every time you would shut down and start up a Mac, it would do it automatically. Don't have to do it anymore because mostly it's solid state drives. But anyway, you've probably got a mechanical drive. And if you did a solid state drive, it would probably make things a lot better. But I will say this, if it's just PowerPoint, probably RAM would take, PowerPoint is not that drive. Those little files are not really that, unless you're doing presentations that are really long. It's a late 2015 Retina 4K Mojave with 8 gigs of RAM. That's plenty of RAM for PowerPoint. It's got a mechanical drive, and that's what your issue is. Aside, what we recommended earlier, taking that machine and putting now it has to be an external solid state drive, and it has to be an enclosure that's a USB 3.0 or 3.1. Those are important. If you get that drive, external hard drive, look for one somewhere. If you can't find one, just give me a call after the show, and I'll direct you. But if you can do that and use that instead of the internal drive you're using now in that machine, or if this is important too. If people have fusion drives, if you have a fusion drive on your iMac, it's either going to be a 64 gig. I don't even know why Apple used those, but it's going to be a 64 gig, 32 gig, 128 gig, or 256 gig solid state drive. And it's not really a drive, it's a chip, it's flash memory, and a mechanical drive. And Apple fused them together using software to make one big drive. So if you got a 1 terabyte fusion drive, it's actually 1.128 terabyte, because it'll be a 128 flash drive and a 1 terabyte fusion drive. If you have that drive and you want to see that machine fly, break up the fusion drive so you have two separate drives inside your machine. You'll have the flash drive, 128 gig, and you'll have a 1 terabyte mechanical drive. Put your system and your applications on the flash drive. 128, you do that. I don't care how big your system is. You're probably still going to have 100 gig free, maybe a little less, maybe 80 gig, but you'll have plenty to work with. And as you work, you'll see things will go. You'll never see a spinning beach ball. I guarantee it. And if you want to find out how to break up a fusion drive, that's another show, but you can Google it, or you can get in touch with me after and I'll show you how to do it.
I'm an audio engineer working with, big audio recording software and stuff. You give me an 8 gig machine, I'll show you a spinning beach ball. I can do it. Get a big multi-track file going and I'll spin that beach ball.
Yeah, I probably need a disclaimer. If you're doing video, high HD, and doing audio, that might not be the case.
Yeah, you always want to have enough RAM to where the computer is waiting on you. You're not waiting on the computer. And when you see the beach ball, that tells you that the computer is, you are now waiting on the computer. The computer is not waiting on you. So that torch has been passed at that point.
Okay. Again, if you want to come on with us, and you know what? I didn't check that link. But anyway, you can call 704-759-4570 or text that number, or you can get on that Facebook page, Mac Computer User Group on Facebook. Just do a search. I'm standing by to let you in if you want to do that. And I got a question from Katie Snyder. She says she keeps getting this error when she tries to log into her MacBook Pro. And what that error is, the dreaded, your computer restarted because of a problem. Press any key or wait a few seconds to continue starting up. You get that error, and then you wait a few seconds, and then you start up again, and lo and behold, you get that error again. I don't know very many times where you get that error, and then you wait like it tells you to do and start up again, where it actually works, where it starts up again. And it's in all different languages in case you're in Japan and it happens, or Korea or El Salvador, you get it in your language. And she says that comes on every time she starts up, and she's not able to get into her computer. Now, generally, that's an error that the system is telling you it can't get to what it needs to start up. And that could be related right to what Paul was talking about earlier. If you move stuff over from another machine and something's in there that's not supposed to be in there for the system, you can get that. That can also be a hard drive issue. It can be a memory issue. And it doesn't matter if the memory is installed where the slots on the logic board and you put the memory in. And when I say logic board, I'm talking about motherboard. Mac parlance is a logic board because Apple, we got to be different. Or if it's soldered on memory can go bad too. So it could be either one. It could be a memory problem. If you start it in recovery mode, which is just holding down the command key and the letter R as you start up, hit those keys, then hit the power button. If it doesn't go into recovery mode, or I should say, if it goes into recovery mode and you can't recover it or repair the hard drive, then it's probably the hard drive. So that's another one where we could probably help better if we have more information on what your machine is and what operating system you're on and those kind of things.
I can never find the any key when they tell me to press any key.
Press any key. I'm surprised I didn't have that question asked of me yet.
Any?
Probably the funniest thing I've ever had happen is probably 20 years ago. And I delivered a G4 tower to this lovely older lady. I was young then, 20 years ago. Tomorrow's my birthday. I'll be 63. But anyway, thank you. 20 years ago, I was in my 40s and I delivered the computer to her, showed her how to work everything and blah, blah. And then she called me back and she said, you didn't tell me this computer came with a drink holder. And I said, a drink? What are you talking? She was talking about the CD tray. She was talking about the CD tray that was her drink holder. I said, no, don't put your drink in there. That because on the Mac there was a key you hit on the keyboard and that CD DVD tray would come out. So she thought that was I like the CD tray, the drink tray. 64 channel Dante in Pro Tools. Oh, Pro Tools. Yeah. I try to avoid Pro Tools questions and Pro Tools work, but notorious for spinning beach balls. 64 channel Dante. Yeah, that's probably not the machine you want to use. The only solution I find for the wheel is force quit. Oh.
Yeah, if you're running Pro Tools, you're going to need a lot more than 8 gigs of RAM. That's for sure.
So I think this is the one that had the PowerPoint problem. It's sad we're not getting Facebook usernames with this. I did get Carol's name and Ricardo, but there's got to be a reason. But anyway, they're
probably the ones with the names are probably typing in the stream software, and then the ones that are coming over from Facebook is being imported as Facebook user. And that's probably a security thing. You probably somewhere in Facebook or the software you have to have permission for the name to come over. I'm thinking.
Yeah. John Austin asked this question in the group. He's working in Big Sur, and there seems to be no way to enlarge the screen for text size for older people with poor eyesight. Hey, I was just talking about me in that regard.
Gonna say, huh? Old guys.
Yeah, he used to use Command Option or Command Plus in Safari to get bigger text size, and that
works for your browser. Again, got a chapter on that 15-minute lesson. A lot of people don't know that in Safari, and this is not answering his question, but this is an extension of his question. That in Safari you can do the control plus or minus, and your text and everything will enlarge or get smaller. I don't know of a specific way, like in a PC, you can do different screen resolutions and bounce the text size and stuff. In the world of Mac, I'm not familiar with a way to do that, but you can enlarge things with your mouse. You can magnify. So
yeah, you can do it in the Mac if you go into your system preferences and go to the displays setting. you, when you go in there and you click on that control panel or system preference for displays, what you're going to see is there's a resolution area, but on the Mac, it's usually checked uh, default resolution for display or default for display as that's a default. It's always there. So you don't see the scaled numbers sizes until you uncheck that and check underneath where it says scale. And then you'll see the resolutions, and the smaller the resolution, or the smaller the numbers, like 640 by 780, the bigger things will be on the screen. The bigger text will be, the bigger the screen will be. Sometimes it's blurry, but that gets you bigger. And then the smaller you go, the smaller text will be. It's usually, as a default, it's usually set to the highest resolution your monitor will do. So it tends to be very clear, but very small. So you can change that. And on the iOS devices, the phones and the iPads will ask you, do you want to set larger text? And that's for everything. And the apps that support larger text. So that's for Big Sur. Go in that system preference and then the Apple mouse, you can double click. You can set it to double click and it will zoom, or right click, it'll zoom.
A related thing to that for those with iPhones, like Ricardo, I'm into electronics. I'm an electronics installer as well, with what our business out here in California, West Coast Sound and Light. One of the things that we do is communications installations. And there's times when I need, a magnifying glass or a microscope or whatever would just be awesome when I'm working with electronics. If you're working with hobbies at home and you need to be able to magnify something, you can use your phone as a magnifying glass. And this is not turned on by default. So you can't just grab your phone and do this. You have to grab your phone and go to your settings and go to the accessibility menu, and there's a place in there for magnification. And when you turn that on, it's going to put an application on your phone called Magnifier, and it turns the whole thing into a magnifying glass that you can electronically zoom in and zoom out on whatever you're looking at on your desk or what have you. And it even gives you a button that if you need to take a picture of it, it'll activate the camera because it's using the camera to do it. And it will take a snapshot of what you're trying to look at. So if you need to look at something really small, minute, a circuit board or something, you're trying to figure out if there's if something's making contact on a board or not. Remember, you got a magnifying glass right here, but you have to turn it on. Change your life.
Yeah, I used it yesterday. I was in Walmart buying something, and I had to look at the ingredients, and I can't believe I couldn't see them. But yeah, I used my
Everyone over 50, accessibility magnifier.
Well, while we're on that topic, another iPhone goodie. If you have earpods, if you have a Bluetooth wireless headset, I know it works with earpods. It might not AirPods. Is that what the AirPods? I know it might not work with anything else now that I think about it. But you can actually take your iPhone, turn on listening assistance in your iPhone, and wherever this phone is, you'll hear what's going on. So if you're like James Bond and you want to spy on somebody, I can put my phone in the kitchen while I'm in the bedroom listening to everything that's going on in the kitchen. Who knows? Might come in handy sometime. But anyway, that's a neat feature of the iPhone and AirPods, being able to listen in on different listening assistants. Mm-hmm. Might come in handy sometime. Can I get an older version of Microsoft Office? Yeah, you can, but It's very difficult, but they are out there somewhere flying around. Somebody asked. Somebody wants to buy an iMac 27 to create home videos. What's the minimum specs that I should look for when I'm buying an iMac? Not trying to make professional videos, just creating memories. Thanks in advance. Well, yeah, my thing is, get 16 gigs of RAM if you can, and don't pay attention to 27 inch or 21 inch, the 5K. 5K. Oh, I gotta have 5K. Gotta have. They'll all do the HG. The 5Ks look nicer, but they cost so much more. You do want to make sure you have, like I said, the RAM, and highly recommend a solid state drive for doing video of any kind, even if it's home video. Fusion drive is okay, but solid state drive is better.
Yeah, a lot of times people say, typically you get the question, I got 8 gigabytes of RAM. Can I edit video? Yes. How long do you want to wait? You can do anything if you got the time.
Yeah.
The more RAM you have, and with a solid state drive, it's a matter of speed and rendering time. And the more you have, the merrier.
Rendering is ridiculously time consuming. You can have a 12 core Mac Pro Tower. If you're rendering something in HD, it's probably going to take as long to render as the video is. So if you got an hour video, it's going to take probably an hour to render, even with 12 cores
Sometimes
and
a lot more, depending
64 gigs of RAM. Yes, sometimes a lot more, depending upon the quality of what kind of video it is, whether it's HD or you know. Somebody asked me, is there a way to record to a web page, or is there a way to record a web page? Is several ways. There's a lot of third-party software will let you record web pages. QuickTime will let you record screenshots and whatever you do on screen, you can record in QuickTime. You can tell QuickTime while it's running, start a video, record my screen, and record all your steps and all the options and everything you do. So you can record that way. And there's, like I said, a lot of third-party software. Screencastify is one of them. There's quite a few. So yes, you can. There is a way to record web pages. Sound, QuickTime doesn't give you sound, so you'd have to use a third party if you want to get some kind of sound. If you want to record video, like a YouTube video or a Facebook video, a very, very, very good program is called ClipGrab. ClipGrab will grab any video clip. Most of my stuff I post, if I see a YouTube page with a good video that I like, that I want to post to Facebook or somewhere else, I will use ClipGrab and grab that clip so I don't have the link to YouTube. And the way it works is very simple. You just go to the web page, copy the address, paste it into ClipGrab, hit copy or grab this clip, and it'll grab the clip, and it works really, really good. It's really a good software.
While we're talking about videos in specific right now, if you do videos, edit any kind of videos, or work with videos at all, there's a free program out there that it's a must on the Mac, and it's called Handbrake.
Oh yeah.
Just Google Handbrake. Handbrake will allow you to take almost any format and convert it into any downsized or upsized, for that matter. But why would you? Downsized format, so it loads faster, takes up smaller amount of space, or more compatible with more machines or what have you. Handbrake, very easy to use, and it's free.
What I like about Handbrake is it has some presets in it. So if I get any kind of video and I want to do a video for my phone, or I want to do a video for the web, or I want to play something on my Apple TV, it has all those presets. So you just hit what preset or what your final video is going to go to, and it'll do all the settings for you. So then you just hit, go or the play button, and it'll make that thing come up beautiful. It works good too. Another thing you can do is you can make the subtitles. You can get a subtitle track, put subtitles in videos, and make it so that you don't have to hit ads. When you're watching it, you don't have to put the subtitles in; they'll already be there. So anyway, that's another reason I like that software.
Another good application that is a must, that anytime I'm loading up a new machine, I go out on you can't get it in the App Store, I don't think. You have to go out on the internet and get it, is a video player called VLC. VLC allows you to basically take anything that's in the PC world compatibility wise and play it on a Mac where QuickTime may not be able to play it. So once you have VLC on your machine, you seldomly see you can't play this video because you don't have a video player to play it. And
VLC will open just about any kind, whether it's a Windows or Mac video or somebody gives you. It also does a good job with repairing videos that you might see it on one machine. It looks kind of broken up in certain places. VLC does a good job of refiguring that and making it work better. So that is a good software. I did just check this link for coming into the studio. I just think everybody's afraid to show their face online. Come on, man up.
Come on,
man up. Somebody come into the studio. I don't know. Well, I was going to say that. I'll make that the person that's going to get the iPad. Yeah, and everybody call in. Let's see. I got another question here.
Again, Handbrake and VLC. I've got a chapter on each of those in the book. So.
Oh, I didn't know that was in there. Okay. That's in the book, folks. Even where you can get it from, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all the links are there.
Another annoyance for me, and this is Barbara. She said, "Oh, this is Barbara, by the way," because I guess she knew we couldn't see people's names. So that was good. And Ricardo says also another good program for the video editing is Davinci Resolve. It's very good. The Davinci software. If it's got a name like Davinci, it's got to be good, I guess. I've never used it, but I'm sure it works great if Ricardo says it's good. Another annoyance for me, Barbara says, when I take a screenshot on the Mac, it goes onto the desktop, but not into the screenshots folder in iPhotos. When I take one on the iPad, it goes into screenshots. Any way to change that on the Mac? I think I called Apple and was told tough. That's the way it is.
That's not the way it is, Barbara. You have some misinformation. If you are taking a screenshot on a Mac, and a lot of people don't know how to do that. First off, if you on your Mac keyboard, let's see, you hold down Command and Shift and hit the number 5 up on your keyboard, you're going to get a little banner thing on the bottom that has options for what you want to capture, whether you're capturing an entire window, an entire screen, or getting a sizable box to get a portion of it. And on the right, you're going to have the capture button that's going to actually do the capture. But in between, there's a little box that says options. If you click the down arrow on the options, the very first thing you're going to get is save to, and by default, that's going to be desktop. You can change that to documents, clipboard, mail, messages, preview. Right below all of that, there's another important little thing called other location. Other location is going to let you browse for a location. So you have to go in and you have to manually tell it where you want something to save to, or it's going to just default it to your desktop.
You got that? So now I want to...
Again, we have a chapter on it in the book.
Yeah, there's a chapter. I wanted to say that if you're... If you're doing Command Shift 3, which also takes a picture of your desktop, it doesn't work that way. So do the Command Shift 5, because my feeling is you're probably doing 3. 3, if you do Command Shift 3, it takes a picture of your whole desktop. And with Command Shift 5, you can pick out what you want to get a picture of. So I did want to show you.
I haven't tried it, but I bet if you go into Command Shift 5, once you tell it where the default is, even if you're doing Command Shift 3, I'm betting that it will then use the new default.
You might be, but I don't think so, because what happens is if you hit Command Shift 3, it's almost instantaneous and it goes right to the desktop. There's no in between steps. Let me just give her this picture. Desktop. I just did a Command Shift 3. Let's see if this. This is what Paul was talking about. Let me get rid of this banner. Comment. This is what it will look like. So I did Command Shift 5, and then I went down here to where it says Options, and there's where he was talking. Oh, he probably can't see what I'm doing, but if you look down in the middle of the screen near the bottom, you'll see Options, and you'll see where check mark is for desktop. That's where it was going. But if you go down to other locations, you can pick out where you want that photo to go, and you can pick out your photos folder and what you want it to, where you want it to go. Okay, so that I did want to show that.
For most of us, desktop, it defaults to desktop, because once you have something on your desktop, you can do anything you want with it, and it's easy to find and everything. So,
and one thing I know from doing computer repairs all these years, Mac people love their desktops. Everything's on the desktop. And now with older operating, if you're using anything from High Sierra on backwards, do not fill up your desktop, because almost every mouse click you make, or when you move him, the Mac internally, it does it very, very quick. But when you have a lot of stuff on your desktop, it can slow down, or it can cause problems. The Mac reads the desktop to try to pre-guess what you're going to do, like a cache. So it has to go through everything on the desktop. It does it, like I said, it does it fast, but you want to keep your desktop clean and mean. So remember, I told you that, so you could pay no attention to it like everybody else does. And saying the same group of people that I say, make sure you back up. Make sure I never back up, and most people I tell that to, they never back up. Mac people are not backup people. We do back up. There's some people that, they're gonna back up. Yeah, Ricardo said Command Shift 5. Good tip. I didn't know that. Yep, that is a good tip.
I use that almost every day. Yeah, people with the icons all over their desk, we refer to those individuals as digital hoarders.
Digital hoarders. That's just so easy, because the desktop is the first thing you see when you start your computer.
We're all guilty of it.
When
I'm in the middle of a project, half of my screen has files. And then when you're done with your project, then you got to put your toys away. But yeah, it's easy to accumulate everything.
Barbara said it sounds complicated. Barbara, it's not that bad. I mean, and also I want to tell everybody listening, if you're a member of the Mac User Facebook group, I do online stuff with a lot of people and a lot of companies. Ricardo's a digital hoarder. I do a lot of stuff with companies where I have to log into their computers and show them how to do something or train them on something. I do that with my Mac Computer User Group people, almost free for everybody. So if it's something simple like that, just get TeamViewer, and tell me what your ID and password is. I'll log in and show it to you and log off. If it takes anything that takes an hour, Mac user group people, I will do something like that very inexpensively, but generally I can do anything within less than an hour, and I won't charge you anything. So just don't tell people that want to just get something done and join the group just so that they can get it done for free. Okay, that's said.
And Barbara, if you want simple, pick up the book.
It's in here.
It's broken down as simple as it gets. Short,
See, now,
one-page lessons.
that's a good tip because I've been using Command Shift 3, which, like I said, does the whole desktop. It does the whole screen to your desktop. Command Shift 5, you get that box where you can, which is actually, there's an app in your Mac called Screenshot, and that's bringing up Screenshot right away. So you don't have to take a picture of the whole desktop. You can pick out whatever you want. There's a nice little square there that, you don't have to get the whole thing, just what you want.
Yeah, 90% of the time I'm usually just using the square because I want to get a portion of something that's on the screen that I couldn't otherwise save as a JPEG or whatever. Another important thing is when you're using that, by default, your Mac is going to save it as a PNG. And that's fine. PNG is a great compression format and it's compatible with all things Mac. But what if you are going to take that over into something that is operating in the PC world? You need to send a picture to somebody. You need to drop a picture into a book if you're an author and you're sending it off to a publisher. You need it in JPEG. You can there's actually a command line that you can go in and type, and it's programming, but don't let that scare you. It's just a simple line that you can type in to your machine. And from that point on, your machine is going to save every screenshot as a JPEG or whatever you want it to save as a TIFF or a PDF or whatever works for you in your workflow. For me, I save everything as a JPEG, JPG. And I never worry about whether or not I'm compatible sending that to someone because everything will see a JPEG. Chapter
Good
in the
point.
book.
Good point. Also, on that same note, when you take pictures with your iPhone, depending upon what model you have, but if you have a relatively new iPhone, it's going to save it as IHEC or something like that.
HEIC, I believe.
HEIC. It saves it as that as a default. That can be changed also in your iPhone. What I've found is that those photos do not work. Well, they didn't work with a lot of things. Like I did Craigslist stuff, they wouldn't go on Craigslist.
Yeah, everything's slowly coming around because the format is better, but it's not popular.
It's a high compression, but still keeping high imagery type of photo. And I don't know why they did that, but
well, technology moves on. Apple has figured out a way to give you a better quality photo with more compression, which means the file size is smaller. It's better, but better isn't always best if your application, what's important to you is compatibility. Do you want something to look awesome on your computer and your computer only? Use that HEIC, whatever it is, format. If you want to take a picture and send it to anybody in the world on an iPhone and Android, or upload to the web or whatever, and you need compatibility, keep it in JPEG mode. It's a little bit larger file and it's not quite as high a resolution, but it's compatible with the world.
Good point. Alice Summers has been putting old cinema films onto DVD, and she wanted to edit them before she put them on the DVD. She says she managed to copy a DVD onto the hard disk, managed to burn another one. Her big question is, how does she edit the DVDs before burning them? And does she need to download? Well, you do have to have an editing program. iMovie, iDVD, depending upon how old your Mac is and what operating system she's running. And I see she's running Yosemite. iDVD, iMovie, Final Cut Pro, a little mature, a little hard to navigate compared to the other ones. But there's also several other. I know there is Toast, which will let you edit DVDs before you burn them. There are ways to do it. Even QuickTime. If you don't, if you talk when you talk about editing, if you're just talking about cutting out a portion here and there, QuickTime is good for that. So, and then you can make it. You know, we don't know how you're doing your DVDs, so you can do it with different softwares. You got to you got to be careful with these free software because a lot of them especially for the video and the editing. Well, actually, it's all software now these days. They'll give you a free version, but to get to the level what you want to do or it's you gotta pay for the professional version. So a lot of them will do that. So
or they give you all of the professional. They give you everything that it will do for a 7-day period or a 10-day period.
Right, exactly. Or I've seen some that'll put a watermark on what you do.
And of course, any video software, it takes a month to really get good at what you're doing. So the 7 days probably doesn't do much, except show you that you can do this stuff, and so you'll buy the program or the app.
And don't forget about turning the calendar back on your machine. No, I'm just kidding.
On the on the PC side, for those of you that maybe you're running Parallels or whatever, so you have access to PC software as well. I mean, one of my favorite editing software packages of all time is a PC package called Vegas. And back in the day when I was podcasting, I would do audio editing on that. I'd do video editing. You can do full-on movies, titling, everything that you can do in like Final Cut Pro and more in Sony Vegas. I don't know if it's Sony still, but back when I was using it was Sony. So I'm not sure if there's anything new that is the equivalent of that. I know Final Cut Pro has a lot of the same features where you can use multiple cameras, but it's still not as intuitive as Vegas was back in the day.
Okay. I think what I want to do with this last half hour we have left, at least part of it, is again mention your giveaway, Paul, and then also I'm going to put up the books, and you can just give a brief summary of each one, what they're about.
Sure. Again, if you are watching this on YouTube, or today, if you want to get a free book, all you have to do is go on Amazon and search Paul Doty author, and my author page will come up that has a link to every book that I've written. It's 4 at this point. Hopefully later in the year, it'll be 5. Buy a book. It can be a paperback. It can be an ebook. The link for my website is up there right now. If you go to that, you'll get a description of each of the books. And if you click on the book from the website, it'll take you directly to that book on Amazon. Buy a book and decide whichever other book you want. It could be the same book. Maybe you want a paperback version of the 15-minute MacBook and you want an ebook version, so you can search better to find something, because you can put in a keyword on a computer where, if you've got a book, you've got that tactile feel, which is great, but you also have to manually find things in the index. So both have their advantages and disadvantages. Buy either a book, a paperback, or an ebook, and then email me. And the email address is authorpauldody@gmail.com. Send me a picture, a screenshot. And we taught you how to do screenshots, so don't say, I don't know how to do a screenshot. We taught you today how to do a screenshot. Do a screenshot of your receipt And in the subject, just write promo code 2021 and the title of the book that you want, and I will email you a link to that book. Available books: Sex Positive, Faith Comes by Hearing, The 15-Minute MacBook, Rubber Meets the Road. Rubber Meets the Road, Faith Comes by Hearing, Sex Positive. Those are all books that I am known as a Christian author on. They're all coming from a Christian perspective. The 15-Minute MacBook is, my venture into secular realm of doing tech, and I work in tech, so that was a very natural book to write. Rubber Meets the Road. If you are into music, and Christian music specifically, I cut my teeth as a sound engineer in the 80s with two of Christian music's top heavy metal bands. Back in the day, in the 80s, you had three major bands that were the biggest Christian metal bands out there. You had a band called Stryper, you had a band called Bloodgood, and you had a band called Barren Cross. Stryper is still going strong. Bloodgood is still going strong. I was the front of house engineer for both Bloodgood and Barren Cross. And now that Oz Fox from Stryper is playing with Bloodgood when we do live shows and recording albums with them, I've got the third jewel in my crown there with the three top bands. So that particular book takes 3 or 4 tours in the 80s and basically just lets you know what it was like out on the road pioneering the genre of Christian heavy metal in the 80s and what those bands went through. And it goes right up to today. That's the third edition of that book, and it's the 25-year anniversary of the book. And there's a brand new chapter basically bringing everyone up to speed with what's going on with Bloodgood today. The band has just had a motion picture documentary released called Trenches of Rock, and it takes you all the way up to that. Faith Comes by Hearing. I wrote that for church sound engineers. That is something that's near and dear to my heart as a professional sound engineer, and basically it's taken a 40-year career and just putting in a how-to book. Anybody really, you don't have to be a church sound engineer. Anybody that is doing sound, anybody that is working with sound engineers, you could be a choir person, you could be a pastor, what have you. If you're working with sound engineers in any capacity, that book comes at it from all angles. So recommend that to anybody that is in music. Sex Positive is a book I wrote about, 3-4 years ago now. I have a friend, a pastor friend, that jokingly said, there's so many books out there, marriage books, Christian marriage books, sex books, intimacy books, and they're all written by these guys in their 20s and 30s, and one of these books shouldn't be written. One of the requisites is you should be in your 50s or higher to write one of these books. So I wrote a book on the subject, and it's not coming from the vantage point that a typical book you're going to pick up on the topic in a Christian bookstore is. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not clergy. I am a, husband in a marriage that is, heading towards 40 years now, and with an incredible wife. And it just explores what the creator of sex and has for us in the typologies involved in that, and just relationship building chapters. And there's topics in that book that I guarantee you're not going to hear from a pulpit. So I tried not to pull any punches in that book. So there you go. And then the 15-minute MacBook, obviously, we're doing 15-minute bite-size 1 or 2 page lessons on a single topic that you can read it and then go practice it and learn it. There's 365 lessons in that book. So if you did one a day at the end of a year, you would be a MacBook Pro, pun intended. And everybody that reads that book, you're going to get something out of it. Ricardo just chimed in of, wow, I had no idea on that whole the Command Shift 5 thing. And this is a Mac professional who repairs for a living, and everybody's going to learn something. I learned a ton when I was writing the book. Every time, it took 3 years to write that book, and I wrote it through 3 different operating systems. I started in Mojave writing that book and finished in Big Sur. So as the new operating systems came out, I continually learned as I was writing that book. So anyone at any level, from I just bought a Mac and I have no idea how to use it, to I've been fixing Macs and working with Macs for 20 generations of Macs or whatever, you're going to get something out of the book.
I agree. And like I said, that's my main reason when you first contacted me, and we talked about the idea of being presented and being part of the user group and what could be done. I said, well, let me look at the book. And I liked the concise way, and what really appealed to me was, like you said, in a year you could learn so much, because they're short 15-minute lessons. That's how we are really trained to learn, and that's how the Mac works. This is really, really easy way to do it. And if you can do one thing a day, you have a tendency to retain it. And so there were things in there, even after doing it, being a Mac guy, having been authorized and been doing the Mac for so long, I saw things that I didn't know. I was like, oh, I didn't, I can do a podcast now because it's in here, how to do a podcast, how to set it up, what to do. There's just so many things. Somebody asked, does the 15-minute MacBook just deal with Macs, or things about iPads and iPhones? I did see some iPad and iPhone stuff in there.
Yeah, there is, but they all relate back to the Mac. So
in Big Sur,
I have a chapter for instance, on how to scan documents directly into your Mac application using your phone or your iPad as a handheld scanner. So yes, in the future, I have considered writing the 15-minute iPad book, the 15-minute iPhone book, the 15-minute Apple Watch book. The possibilities are out there, open and endless when it comes to the Mac ecosystem. But I figured if I'm gonna start somewhere and I'm gonna put an emphasis on something, it's going to be on the Mac itself, and then you can springboard from there. So the answer to your question is yes. There is stuff with iPhone, iPad, and there is actually, I think there's a chapter or 2 on using your Apple Watch to unlock your devices and things like that. So yeah, we touch on everything, but it is specifically for the iMac and everything relating to it.
Okay. I would like somebody who gets the book, the first person that gets the book and sends me a picture of them holding up the book. Now, don't Photoshop, because I'll know. But if hold up the book, send me a picture, you're going to get a free solid state hard drive upgrade in your computer. The labor will be free. You just have to pay for the drive. So
Wow.
it'll be very inexpensive to get your upgrade in your machine just by getting that book. Let's see. So Amazon, just type in Paul Doty. I've just tried it and comes right up to his book. All the books that he just mentioned.
Or go to the website and you'll have you'll have all the books available there too.
I'm interested in the sound one for the church sound people, because I do the Mac. a majority of the people that are clients of mine, and over the years, I've gained some 6,000 clients. Many of them are music and video people. And I would probably say out of that, half of them are church engineers and people that work in the ministry. So that one intrigues me. And then being on the stuff about being on the road, that intrigues me too, with music groups. When I was in high school, my aunt almost married a man they call Super Harp, James Cotton Blues Band. And I had an opportunity to go on the road with him and Edgar Winter and Johnny Winter for us part of a summer when I was out of school. And what an adventure. Oh, they did a lot of stuff. But anyway, so that book intrigues me too, getting the Christian perspective on it. And I appreciate what you do as for Christian stuff as a man in the ministry myself. I appreciate that. And okay, we've got about 5 minutes left. I do want to reiterate that we will be giving away. Let's see how many users we got on the group now. We've had a few join just in the time.
Really close to 5,000 the last time I looked.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Anyway, I think it's like 4,500 maybe. No, not that many. I can tell you just. We have 4,040 members. So we're very close to giving away the iPad. I'll show you what it looks like. iPad Air. It's got a case on it now, and it's got the keyboard. 5,000 members. We're going to have a drawing. I don't know how we're going to do the drawing, but we'll probably do it like this in a live setting. And get ideas. Family members, sorry, I got to exclude you. And if you're not in the United States, you have to be a United States citizen, U.S. citizen, in order to have it shipped to you. So I'm actually looking forward to giving it away because it's my own iPad, and I can't get a new one unless I give this one away. So I'm going to give this iPad away just as my excuse to buy a new one. Even though this works great, it's an iPad 2, Air 2, and it's a great iPad. 64 gigs, so it's a little bit bigger than the standard, and has Wi-Fi. Well, Paul, I really appreciated being with you, and I'm looking for people to get the book and want to call me back and tell me how they like it, and talk about some things in it with them.
In the last 10 minutes here, I'll give you a couple of tips before we go.
Okay.
Number one, if you have a new iPad already, if you've got one of the new iPad Air 4s or an
That's what
iPad
I'm looking
Pro,
at.
The 11 point whatever it is, iPad Pro, the Magic Keyboard for that, which is normally it's a $300 thing.
Yeah.
Right now, for a limited amount of time on Amazon, they have that keyboard for $199. That's one third off on a genuine Apple product.
It's a good deal.
That's crazy.
That's a good deal.
I was very skeptical. I just bought one, and it's great. It's real Apple. I mean, it's not some knockoff or whatever. And it's not a second hand. They're brand new. Go on Amazon, pick one of those up. I don't get anything from it. I'm just saying that's a good deal right now.
I probably will, because I've got to have the keyboard, because I do use this as I don't have a laptop. I use this as my laptop. This keyboard is a Belkin keyboard. I like it because it's backlit, which you don't see very much in the keyboards. I can use it at night. And I can use it separated and, probably just like the Apple keyboard. And it makes a nice stand. You can stand up horizontally or vertically. But I definitely want that Apple keyboard. I tried it in the store and I really liked it. So
One other tip I want to leave everybody with, this is for the person that was asking me if I had any iPhone tips in the book, which only relating to the Mac. So this is totally relating to the iPhone. This is totally off of the thing.
Hey, you're getting this for free, folks.
Absolutely. I one of the things that people talk to me that tell me that really bugs them is if they're typing to somebody, like they're sending a text or something like that. And I'm going to go ahead. I'll do this on my between me and my wife. So if a weird text goes through, she gets it. But if you've typed a bunch of text, and I'm just going to type in a whole bunch of just garbage. I'm just bouncing around typing stuff, and then you want to edit it. And you take your finger and you go up and you try and get between two little letters or whatever so you can edit. It's just very annoying to try and get that exactly where it is. What people don't realize, you don't have to turn this on. It'll do it by default. If you take your finger and rest your finger on the space bar of an iPhone,
the
keyboard's going to disappear and it's going to turn into a trackpad.
Oh.
I can now take and I can put that cursor anywhere I want between any letters, let go, and it's right there.
So it's holding it on the space bar.
Hold it on the space bar. This will also work on the iPad.
Yeah, that's the next book.
Yeah, and I try in writing the book, I really tried to put things in that you may not find in any other, stuffy technical manual. I'm a techie, and I hate buying a book on something and it's just a stuffy technical manual. I want to know cool stuff that I can do that's going to make my workflow go faster. I want to learn things that I didn't know it could do that. You could do that. I'll use that, so that's what I tried to do with the book.
Yeah, there's not much that comes with a Mac in terms of manual, any Apple product in terms of manuals so that's what's so cool about the book is it's just like reading Apple manual where it's just cut and dry, straightforward. Here's how to do this and here's how to do that. And I did find a lot of stuff in there I didn't realize. I didn't know that about the iPhone either. But I'm like, as soon as I get off, that's what I'm gonna try.
Your finger on the and it's so easy to remember. You don't have to rewind this thing to what was it? How did I do that? What do I enter in? No, stick your finger and hold it on the space bar. It only takes a second, and it turns into a trackpad. And you now have a trackpad on your phone.
That's cool, man. I was doing another thing. I was at the barbershop today. I was doing that, trying to get that cursor in the right spot. And, it's asking me, do you want to copy, cut, paste? No,
I didn't want to highlight everything. I'm just trying to get, how do I get out of this now? Just use the trackpad.
Okay, this is the last question. Another annoyance for me when I take a screenshot on the Mac, goes to the desktop. Oh, that's the same question.
We answered that one.
We did that one. All right. Well, let's see. 5 more minutes. If anybody wants to ask a question, call in. Or I'm surprised we didn't have any phone calls. I did have some texts, but we answered them. Nobody came in the studio, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think people watch on Facebook and they're going to type something there before they're going to call something on a telephone.
I have with a lot of people are saying thank you. Well, that's good. We thank you for being there, Ricardo. I'll have to find out if Ricardo's okay in Texas. Make sure he's got heat and electricity. And everybody else in Texas, please take care. And we're thinking about you.
Mm-hmm. And one more time, if you want a free book, all you got to do is go to Amazon, either via my website or just go right to Amazon. You can go right on Amazon and just search Paul Doty author, and my author page will come up, and all of my books are available there. Find a book that you want to buy it in either paperback or ebook form. It doesn't matter. While they're shipping it to you, take a screenshot of the invoice that you've actually bought a book. And we taught you how to do a screenshot today. You could also take a photo with your phone, whatever, or a copy of the email or what have you. Just make sure that you're not sending me your credit card information, because I don't need that. But Peter says he'll take your credit card information and he'll actually read you the book. So that's on him.
I'll read it to you.
Email me that page. Email me the proof of purchase. Email me at authorpauldoty@gmail.com. And in the subject of the email, promo code 2021 and the title of the book. I don't care if you write promo code out, but make sure you got 2021 and the title of the book. And I will reply to that email with a link to the book that you want. You go on Amazon today and buy 2 books, I'll send you 2 free books. There'll be ebooks that you're going to get links to.
Now these are actually ebooks, not.
Yeah,
I said PDFs earlier, but they're not.
No,
PDFs.
not
they're
PDFs. It's actual ebook format. So if you have the Apple Book Reader, you can read it in that. And every Mac
Kindle?
comes with and you can do them on Kindle. Yeah, it's the actual version that you're going to buy on Amazon. I'm just going to send it to you, and you can do that. And a cool thing about using like the Apple Reader, another thing that people don't usually know, is you can highlight text like you can just about anywhere in the Mac ecosystem. And if you right click, or if you have a trackpad, you take 2 fingers and tap, and it's a 2-finger thing. It opens up that auxiliary menu, and one of the options is speak. You can have your reader read you the book. You didn't pay for an audio book.
You just cost me money, man.
That's true. I'm taking money out of Peter's pocket. So
that's good information, man. That's good information.
And the voice has gotten to be so good with Big Sur. If you're running the latest version of Big Sur, it's Siri reading it to you, and it's very natural. And it's like she's not like pronouncing words funny and stuff like that, which, I mean, maybe that's a letdown. Maybe you're entertained by that, but it's actually gotten really, really good.
Well, yeah, Siri become a regular part of our lives, I guess.
Yeah, Siri's funny sometimes. One of my favorite sayings when I'm texting somebody and something comes out totally different, and they're like, "What?" Sorry, Siri drinks.
Do you remember what you were doing the first time you ever heard Siri talk back to you?
No.
I was driving. I was coming from church at night, and this is in North Carolina, so I'm driving back roads, and it's in the woods. It's dark, and I just said, where am I going? I got lost. And where am I going? And she said something like, "I can't help you, Minister Peter." And it came from my phone. I didn't know anything about Siri or anything back then. So It was kind of creepy, but now it's like my wife will tell me something and she'll say, "Don't forget." And I'd say, "Okay, I won't forget." She'll say, "Tell Siri to remind you." She doesn't use it, but she makes me use it anyway.
Yeah, I remember when Bluetooth headsets first came out. I was at the CES show. It was the very first year, and everyone had that original little Bluetooth. That was a little thing that they stuck in their ear, and you couldn't hardly see it. And I remember seeing thousands and thousands of people going up and down the stairs at CES in Las Vegas, and everyone is talking to themselves.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, a year ago, this would have been an asylum.
Yeah. Yeah. but I remember when I first saw somebody talking to themselves, and I was like, "What?" And then the first time I was in a movie theater and I saw that blue light blinking from somebody's head, I didn't know what it was, but anyway.
Low-flying aircraft avoidance.
Yeah. Well, Paul, it's been great as usual, and we'll be seeing you on the Facebook page. And everybody here, make sure you get the books, and let them know you appreciate them.
Yeah, and let us see your face. Take the book, put a picture on the group, hold up the book so we can see what you look like, and we see what our readers look like out there.
Good idea. All right, man. Take it easy.
Have a good one.
You too. All right, everybody. It's been great. Thank you for tuning in. If you tuned in, if you didn't get a chance to, we're going to have more studio sessions. If you got ideas or something you want to talk about it here, or some person you want to get on, just give me a call. Let me know. And everybody be safe, stay warm, and I'm out.